Okay, hello everybody. We're starting just a little bit early because there's a whole bunch of you on right now, and we want to encourage you all to start putting your questions in now, especially if you're watching on the event page or the watch page. We will be able to see them, so please feel free. We're going to go ahead and cut this part out, but we want to go ahead and start a little bit early. So um, feel free, drop the comments in. Alrighty. Um, I did want to start a little bit sooner than this, but I didn't get it in time. So, Dennis, do you want to go ahead and we'll start the broadcast? And like I said, I can just trim it as soon as you're ready to go.
I'm ready to go, Zane.
Alrighty, and camera is on you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, or good evening, or whatever it is in your part of the world. And I'm thrilled to be able to bring Zane Miller on with me today for this Google Hangout, this Hangout. The first time I heard of Zane was, I guess, probably 2 or 3 years ago. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zane, when Jason
Yeah.
Fladlin partnered with him to do a product together. And it was about Google Hangouts, and YouTube, which I had heard of at the time. I'd heard of Google Hangouts, but I had no idea what it was, and I had never appreciated what it could do. But the fact that Jason, who's a sort of webinar legend, obviously, was able to ease so seamlessly into a Hangout with Zane's help made me think that maybe Google had indeed come up with something that I really ought to check out, especially since my main complaint about webinars seemed to be solved by Hangouts, that being the fact that taking a webinar and rendering it into a format suitable for distribution as a replay wasn't the easiest thing in the world, and I'd lost a couple of them trying to do that. So I dabbled with Hangouts. I sort of liked the idea, but I didn't really use them that much. Then fast forward to the 2013 Earn 1K Day seminar last summer. Zane attended, and I had the pleasure of meeting and chatting with him. And he volunteered to do a demonstration of Hangouts on stage live, and it went great. Really did. We squeezed him in and went seamlessly. And then fast forward another 6 or 8 months or so, and I was looking for an additional speaker for the 2014 seminar, and I asked Zane if he'd be interested, and he said yes, absolutely, and immediately. So that helped me out. Unfortunately, I wasn't at my own seminar this year, but I understand that at the Friday Mastermind, Zane had dozens of people circled around him, listening to his every word. People had no idea that Google provided such powerful tools, and which Zane had mastered over the years. And then when he gave his presentation the next day, or Sunday, whichever it was, he told people he could go on and on and on, and he went for the 45 minutes or an hour that we allotted to him. And he said he told the people there he'd be glad to put together an immersion class if there was interest, and if I gave my blessing, probably knowing full well that I absolutely would. And the audience went wild. I heard the audio replay, and people were just cheering at the idea. So, of course, I gave my blessing, and here we are today, the first Hangout and helping people immerse themselves in all that Google offers marketers. Google, imagine that, the company that many of us love to hate. So suddenly we're paying attention to them, right? So Zane, thanks for doing this for us, and I'll let you take over from here.
Awesome. Thank you. That's quite the introduction. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Hangout, as we're calling it. Of course, I can't say that I coined it. It's been just kind of a term that's been thrown around a lot. Hope you're also enjoying the fro. I feel like it's truly helped me in my marketing. I feel a little bit like Samson with my strength and power comes from my hair, right? So thanks for those of you who are here live. Again, I want to urge you to drop your comments and questions in here, because I will be monitoring them and I will be able to answer them. Now, since I'm also simultaneously doing a presentation while monitoring the comments, comments and questions will be addressed intermittently. Basically when I have time and when it fits. But most of them are just going to be pushed to the end. So again, thank you for your time, especially all the people here that are here live. Dennis, we've got a whole bunch of people here. We've almost we're getting close to 100. So pretty exciting
Awesome.
on that. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to use the magic and power of Hangouts and show you my screen. So why don't you go ahead, again, if you're watching on the event page or the YouTube watch page, let me know if you can see my screen here. It says, who am I and what makes me uniquely qualified to teach you. Dennis, can you see my screen? I'm going to go ahead and say yes. I think you muted yourself, Dennis. You need to click the.
Oops.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, I
No, no,
didn't.
you're cool. But you can see it all right. My screen. Awesome. So with that said, let's. All right, cool. So, who am I, and what makes me uniquely qualified to teach you? Well, my name is Zane Miller. Yes, that is a very recent picture, and yes, that is a meat sandwich made out of meat. Like that's me. That's who I am, and I could just sit here and talk, say, hey, here's all the things that I think makes me cool. But I think again, you're here because you want to find out like what it is that I'm all about. So let me tell you why it is that I feel that I am uniquely qualified to teach you. Uh, Simply put, I'm a YouTube nerd. Okay, there are many of us that do exist, but I actually know how to take my YouTube nerdiness and all the cool things that I know about YouTube and actually apply it to business and marketing. I've also made money using YouTube many different ways since 2007. So not only is this one of those things that I've been doing it for a while, but I've also been doing it for a while and been making money with it. And I, I really enjoy what I do, and I think about YouTube every day. It's not just every once in a while. I don't like doing any other kind of marketing, really. When someone says, hey, how would you market thus or such product? My brain instantly goes to YouTube because that's what I'm used to and that's what I enjoy. So I do this all day, every day, and I've made money many different ways. I've sold my own products. I've sold other people's products. I've sold my services where I charged up to like $250 an hour. So this is something that I've been doing for a while, which again is why I think that I'm fit for this, right? I really love teaching this, but here's the thing, and many of you, and let me know in the comments. I know there's plenty of you who've reached out to me, and you've got like nothing back, and that's because while I do love teaching this stuff, I dive into YouTube wholeheartedly, and as I've said before, I've made my own products and I've sold other people's products. I'm doing this all day, every day. I'm not just thinking about it and going, oh wow, that would be really cool. I'm actually knee deep into this and doing this every day. So I don't have time to sit down and go, oh okay, here's what I was doing. So I do love teaching this though. I think it's because both of my parents are teachers. Well, were teachers. Now one's a professional writer, and the other one is on the school board, right? So teachers for many years, and I think I just got the bug. But again, I don't always have time to do this, so it's really great to come out of this fugue state where I disappear for weeks or even months on end working on a product or working on a project. And so thanks again, Dennis, for letting me out of my cave, so to speak. Right.
All right.
The final reason why I feel that I am uniquely qualified to teach you is because I have a secret weapon. All right, and not a lot of people know about this, but it is my driving force. It is my why, and it's this right here. I know. I'll just take a moment. Aww. This is the most adorable thing you'll ever see, ever. Just in case you're wondering. This is my daughter, Amber. Again, a lot of you don't know about her, but for some pretty lame reasons, I don't get to see her as much as I'd like to. That sucks, I know, but she's my why, and if I'm always thinking about YouTube and I'm always going back to why, I just sit in my office and work my ass off every day so that when I do have time to spend time with her, money's not an option. right? It's just not a problem. So again, this is why I'm the best guy to go through this, right? So why am I here, right? Why am I doing this, and why is there a scowly-faced man on the screen? Well, I've actually been watching House on Netflix, and he fits, right? So honestly, I'm a little annoyed, right? You're doing it wrong, right? That's I feel like I've been saying this over and over and over and over and over again, not to you guys, right? I really feel like I'm preaching to the choir, but just most Hangouts that I see, or Hangouts or webinars on a Hangout, or however you want to just label it or say it, it's so wrong. I couldn't have wronged any more wrong than wrong could wrong. It's just wrong. Okay, there are better ways of doing it, but I think people got a little carried away over the last year or so, because Hangouts are awesome. They're fantastic, and they do some amazing things, and they're really great, and I could go on and on for hours about it. And Dennis, you know that I could go on for hours about it. But in order to keep me on point, I need to go to the next slide. But the point here is that it kind of grinds my gears, right? That there's software out there that you're not using, that you've paid for, right? But don't worry about it. It's not your fault, right? Because again, I think a lot of marketers got carried away, and they're like, oh wow, there's so many cool things that we can do with Hangouts. Can we figure out some software to sell? And boom, right? Everybody knows what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about. We're talking about, like, crap, I can't even think about half the tools. Dennis, help me out here. I don't use them.
Webinar Jam?
Well, there we go. Webinar Jam. Webinar Jam is one of them. Webinar Express. There's quite a few of them, and it seems that the main theme is, here's the really cool thing that you've got, and there's not really like a whole lot of how to use Hangouts, right? Even though it's the software that's being used, and it's anyway. I keep going around and around in circles with it because, well, it's frustrating, right? I mean, this is what drove me to this presentation, and I'll tell you this right now. If you stay to the end, I promise you will discover the key to free webinars on Hangouts and how you can use them to make money in 48 hours. In fact, I just did this with Barb a couple of days ago, right? And I'll show you some pretty cool statistics, because these are actually some statistics that I was like, wow, I wasn't even expecting these kinds of numbers. So if you guys stay to the end, I promise you guys, you'll see the true power of Hangouts without needing software, right? Spoiler alert, I know, I do that a lot. And also, another spoiler alert, I am going to be offering something. But I know that by the time I get done with this presentation, you're going to be just as amped about Hangouts and what they can do as I am. So you'll be more than willing to listen to me, talk about what I can offer to help you, right? So does that sound fair to you guys? If you guys, two things before we move on, and please let me know. Drop your comments in the comment area, either on the event page or the watch page. I will promise you, if you stay with me all the way till the end, you will be able to see that you don't need any software to be able to do webinar like Hangouts, or webinars, or webinar on Hangout, whatever you want to call it. And you'll be able to turn around and take this information and be able to make money with it in 48 hours. That was like the main drive of this, because Dennis did say, he's like, well, I want this to be not just, hey, here's a couple of points. If you want to offer something at the end, you need to have people walk away with something for free, very, very powerful, right? So if that works for you, I will go ahead and move on. Let's see, we got some cool night hiker on. Thank you. Anyway, so just checking out the comments. So with that said, let's go ahead and keep on going then. So here's the big deal here, right? So I've made a big promise, and I've said there's a big, huge piece that's missing. What is that missing piece? Well, let's take a step back. Why is everybody so amped about Hangouts, right? Well, the ultimate benefit, as you can see, is that you can use Hangout as an almost free way to present content. How cool is that? Right, but you already knew that, which, I mean, it's half the reason why you're here, is because, well, Hangouts are super cool and you want to learn more about them. But see, almost free. Again, I've already touched on this. It's like, okay, so Hangouts are free, but you know, I thought they were free to be able to do these presentations on. But if you want to sell people stuff on a Hangout, well, then you need fancy software. And again, I think that is super lame. Why? Like, it doesn't even make sense when you've got a platform that's free to add software on top of it. Seems, well, lame, right? Now there is a way to do this for free, and I will tell you, here is the trade-off, right? Instead of having to use the software and making it plug in and do all the things that you want it to do, get your emails and your registration pages and all the stuff that makes it feel nice and comfortable and make it feel like a webinar. The trade-off, right? Because you have to pay for that. You have to pay for that functionality. But if you're willing to use Google Plus, it's all free. Not just the webinar part, the actual promotional part, the webinar part, but also distribution. Okay, but I'm getting ahead of myself. The point here is that you need to use Google. So I'm preaching to the choir here, but will you guys put into the comments here? Will you make a commitment? Will you say, yes, I am willing to at least check out Google Plus. I'm willing to at least have an open mind. Can you give me that? At least have an open mind. Say, yes, Zane, I will have an open mind about Google Plus. Please just commit that to me right now, because it'll make the whole rest of this presentation a little bit easier to do. Okay? Give you guys a second. Actually, I need to let me grab my water here real quick. Dennis, I'm not sure if you were able to pull up the event page in time, but are you able to see any of the comments here? Anything that's
let me refresh the page. I know the event page lags a little bit behind the live feed, so that might have something to do with it.
Let's see.
No, they haven't shown yet.
All right.
But I'm sure they will.
Okay. No, well, I mean, hey, if
they're starting to come in now.
Oh, okay.
Definitely. Yes.
Okay. All right. Perfect.
Just lagging.
Yeah. All right. Open mind for sure. Okay. Yes, Zane. All right. Awesome. Okay. So let me make sure we're back on the same pages here. Okay. So here's. I love this. I got to tell you guys, I have had such a great time putting this presentation together, and I am not, if you've seen any of my other PowerPoint presentations, you would not believe that I did this when I did. And what you're watching, the reason why I'm so excited about this is because this is a part of Google Drive. This is Google Drive's PowerPoint presentation system, and it was super simple. Okay, I strongly encourage you guys, if you haven't had a chance to mess around with the Google Drive presentation tools, again, basically just PowerPoint for Google Plus, it's fantastic, right? Here's basically the reason why. Okay, as I was saying, you need to have an open mind about Google Plus. And again, I'm preaching to the choir, but this is basically the reaction that most marketers have, right? They're just very resistive to Google Plus, and I think it's unwarranted, but I digress, right? Again, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but why do you think that I think that this reaction is a good thing? Again, just go ahead, feel free to drop that comment in there, and of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask those as well. But again, why do you guys think that I think that this reaction right here is a good reaction as far as other marketers go? The fewer marketers on Google Plus, the better. Simply put, right? There are 256 million people hanging out on Google Plus. Why would I want to crowd it with more marketers on Google Plus? And I mean, again, I get it. Most people are just used to social media sites like Facebook. I'm not saying anything bad about Facebook. In fact, I use Facebook. I'm a marketer. I connected with Dennis on Facebook. reached out to his group, talked to him a bunch of stuff. I have posted YouTube videos into his group and on my page. I use Facebook all the time. I'm not against Facebook, but I am against having that closed-minded attitude of like, well, it's not exactly like Facebook, so I don't want anything to do with it. Like you think people don't sound like that, but they do. So it's using every possible platform that you can. And yeah, a lot of people didn't necessarily like how Google approached Google Plus, but it's fantastic, right? There's so many things that can be done with it, especially even what I'm talking to you guys today about being able to create these Hangout experiences, have that same effect of a webinar, but just on a Hangout, and being able to do it for free. But again, I'm getting ahead of myself. So the fewer the marketers on Google Plus, the better. And if there's no one else competing for that attention of those 256 million people on Google Plus, then yeah, go ahead. It's all yours. Hey, you know what? Hey, I don't care. Facebook, go Facebook. I'm just going to go over here and I'm just going to keep making money over on Google Plus, because I have been. Ever since I started messing around with Google Plus, I've been able to generate money from Google Plus, right? So, I could go on about it, but I won't. So, what's the key, right? What's the major key here? Google Plus events, right? This is the crucial missing piece. It's the reason why you don't need software out there, right? Now, I will tell you that it's not the end of the world. If you have this software, I promise you, understanding Google Plus and Hangouts better is just going to make it easier for you to use those tools. So hope is not all lost. If you have software such as Webinar Jam or Hangout Express, and those are the only two that come to mind, I'm not dogging on those by any means, because they are very helpful and they can be leveraged very, very well. But again, my beef is with the fact that there's not a whole lot of Hangout education with it, like the actual core content, because, well, yeah, if you got the software, everything's fine. Well, if everything was fine, then everybody here would be using those tools all the time, right? But I know 90% of you. Dennis, even you were saying, like, you've got a copy of some of these tools. Is that right?
Yeah, I bought Webinar Jam. I got another plugin, and I haven't used them yet.
Right, and why do you think that is?
I don't know. I just haven't spent the time to learn what they can do for me, and to let them prove that they can do it better than you're proving that I could do it without them.
Yeah.
But I got sucked into you better buy it now, otherwise the price is going to double, tomorrow. So.
Right. And like the major selling feature of this software is the fact that you can have people register, right?
Right.
And you can have people interact, and there's again there are pieces that, like, with the core content, the core software of Hangouts, that they can't do everything. They can't you can't get an email opt-in, right? You can't get that registration page and all the stuff that comes with a webinar. And for a long time, I used to scratch my head and go, well, like, Hangouts and webinars are different, so they should be treated differently, so it shouldn't be such a big deal. Then, I talked with a couple of mentors that were, smarter than me, and that, it told me basically that shouldn't matter, right? You need to be able to show people what they're already used to and then bring them to the new side, because there are so many things, guys, that I could like, so many other things that we could talk about beyond webinars. But again, webinars are extremely powerful. I'm not dogging them. I'm not trying to dog any of the software that you're using. I'm saying that there is a new way of looking at it, and there are even a couple of things better than these like GoToWebinar and tools out there like that, that Hangouts just destroy. Again, I'm digressing, getting ahead of myself. We'll touch on that later. Here's the key. Google Plus events. This is what gives you the power, gives you your registration page. It gives you Google actually ends up emailing for you and reminding people, like, hey, you said that you were going to go to this event. Well, we're just going to merge events with Hangouts, and done. You've got that missing crucial piece. It's the cornerstone, right? make sure I'm not getting too far ahead of myself here. Next one. Okay. Yeah. Okay. We're not to let's review just yet. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to show you this screen. We'll get back to the presentation in just a second, but this is what I want to focus on now. This should all look very familiar to you guys because, well, this is the Google Plus event page that Dennis sent you to. He said, "Hey, go and check out this event page if you want to register here." And hey, look at that. It says, "Hey, handful more." Right? So this is kind of interesting because it says that there is 60 going, but there's like 90 people watching live right now, right? So not everybody says that they're going to go, right? A great Fladlin acolyte, awesome, thank you. This again, this is the registration page, right? I created this event page long before I started this Hangout. And then I connected with Dennis. I said, "Hey, here's the event page, right? So this is where you need to send people to." Now, also take note, not just what I'm showing you, but also what I'm doing, right? I learned that early on in internet marketing, is that when it comes to the teachers out there, don't just listen to what they say, but also watch what they do. Right? It's not just like here's the lesson, but it's like, okay, but how are they marketing to me? Right? How is Zane marketing to me? How is Dennis marketing to me? Because, big surprise, most of us actually use the techniques that we teach, or else that would make us kind of crappy teachers, right? So again, like I want you to see that this registration page, and it was created a long time ago before this even started. So we can push people to this page, and also interestingly enough, you can see people can make comments on this page, right? Mark, I'll be happy to answer your question. Actually, can you show us how the registration process works on Google? Yep, absolutely. So right here, right, I've already said that I was going. Yes, right. But when you click on that, then it automatically adds to your Google Calendar, and whatever. I mean, if you have Google Calendar. If you don't, then it obviously doesn't. But when you click yes, whatever Google Plus profile that you're currently signed into, basically that's the email address that Google Plus will use to remind you that, hey, you've got this Hangout that you're doing. Now, here's another thing that I want to point out real quick is that again that resistance to Google Plus is because I never use it, I'm not on there, but you kind of are all the time. In fact, I can confidently say that 98% of the time you're on Google Plus. You just don't know it, right? Because Google has created this whole one account thing, right? And we can touch on that a little bit more later if you guys want. But this whole big one account thing, it controls Gmail, it controls Google Plus, it controls YouTube. So basically, if you're in one property, then you're also logged into another, which you're logged into another. So you're always on Google Plus, whether you realize it or not, right? But here's the other cool thing: even if you're not logged into Google Plus and you don't even have a profile, since this event page is public, because when I created it, I specifically told Google, like, I want to share this publicly. Even if you're not signed into Google Plus or even have a Google Plus account, you can still view this page, and you can click play on this. In fact, like, hey, check it out. It's like Inception. I'm doing the live hangout, during the live hangout, watching the anyway. All right, I'll shut up now. So the point is that again, this is your registration page. This is the keystone. This is the piece that makes me just go, why? Why? It seems so obvious. Like if you have a free option where you can say, here, everybody sign up here, and a paid option, okay, there's plenty of merit for the paid option, right? I'm not saying that you shouldn't use GoToWebinar. I'm just saying that if you're going to test something out, why not use the free tool first, right? Like my older brother always taught me. I'm terrible with cars, by the way, but the first thing that I learned from him is start with the cheapest problem first and go from there, right? So if you can recreate the effect of a webinar, but do it on a new platform like a Hangout, then why not use the free option first? And then if you really want, if you start seeing some traction from it, yeah, go ahead, use the GoToWebinar thing and whatever. But it's right here. It's available for you. And as you can see, the registration, also you can embed the actual live Hangout on the event page, right? So here's the other thing. You can see that there are questions that show up. Now, I've asked Dennis, I said, while I'm going through this presentation, will you keep an eye on the questions? And if something comes up, will you please let me know, right? If there's something that I miss, right? So we can be looking at this at the same time, kind of like being in the same webinar together. Except what if we wanted more than just me and Dennis? What if we wanted, like, I don't know, 8 other people in here? We could do that. We could have 8 panelists in here. Now, also, where do you think that this link right here goes to? It says official site. Any guesses? Dennis, you want to throw it out?
Sorry, Zane, I've been looking at the comments.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. So this official site, this link, this has Dennis's affiliate link right here. And so when I talk about the awesome thing that I'm going to tell you about later on, that I've already told you I'm going to tell you about, I was like, click the link. That's where you're going to go. So imagine not only being able to have up to like 10 panelists inside of a Hangout, but if there were panelists that couldn't make it on there, you could still have hundreds, even thousands of event pages of affiliates, right? And all they got to do is put their affiliate link in the official site. Because just like I did with Dennis, you can also see, right, if we click on this, this is the YouTube watch page, right? I can create this at the same time as I create the event page. I can schedule this Hangout ahead of time. And like I said, embed it in here. The guts of this whole thing was ready before I even talked to Dennis. I had it all set up. I had the event page ready. I had the link ready. Everything. I said, here's the event page, and here is the watch page. And you can send traffic to the event page. You can send traffic to the watch page. You can send traffic. Heck, you can even do
Zane, are you there? I can't hear you anymore.
Okay. Woo! We're still here. Dennis, you still there?
I'm here.
All right. I had to stop for a second because we were having some technical, like the Hangout window was like, hey, you're having some latency issues, and I kind of thought for a second, because I just got 2 cats, thought one of them may have I thought I might have had to kill a kitten, which would have been sad. So anyway, We're back. Sorry about that, guys. Let me get back to the screen here. Quick teaching moment, though. During the replay, basically what will happen is that there'll be just this little bit where it says, "Oh, there was a couple of issues," and then it'll cut right back to the video. In fact, I can just edit that part out, which, in fact, I will. Right? So that said, so Dennis, you're still here. We've still got almost 100 people here. So thank you again for your patience. What was the last thing that you heard, Dennis?
Got me.
I know I do. I do
short
talk
attention
fast,
span, I'll tell you.
and I do talk fast. Yeah. Okay. Zane, wake up on the screen. It went away. All right, we're back. We're back, guys. But what I was getting to with this was just the simple fact that I basically was able to set everything up and get everything ready on the event page and have it all ready to go, and even give people the opportunity to say, yes, I'm going, and +1 it and share it. And like right now what's happening is that it's, this is the display for the Hangout, and it's showing that, hey, you could push play right now. If it was before the event started, there would be a countdown timer, right? And plenty of marketers have paid a lot of money just to have a cool countdown timer like this, and Hangouts are giving it to us for free. Right, so we have all of the components that you would want from a webinar type platform. Except again, you have to be okay with using Google+. But you're also saying that there's no problem with using Google+, because most of the time people are already logged in, whether they realize it or not. And even if they're not, they can jump on this page and they can click play right away and just jump into the Hangout and watch the content of your Hangout or your webinar Hangout, whatever you want to call it. And again, they don't even have to be logged in to Google+. And when it comes to the call to action, they just say, hey, click the link below, click the link in the official site, whatever it is, whether you're watching on the event page or you're watching on the watch page here, right? We've even got right here, dive in now, right? I know I'm kind of, I'm basically kind of showing you the buy link ahead of time, and I kind of have to, because I'm showing you, how this works, right? So, with that said, would you guys like to learn right now how to create a Google Plus event page? It's really super fast, and I can show you exactly how I did this. And if you think about it, if I were to do this again, which I might, you could actually use the same tactics that Dennis Becker used right here. I mean, I did most of the work for him. I said, here you go. Here's the link, and you can embed it on your own website, or you can create an event page yourself. And then I just said, well, I'll put your link on my event page. But again, easily duplicatable. If that sounds interesting to you, if you would like to learn how to create an event page, go ahead and let me know right there in the comments.
Hey Zane, how come I'm showing on the webinar instead of you, or instead of your screen? I'm just seeing.
Just you? Because I have it on you now, and now it's back to my screen. That's what I'm seeing.
I'm looking at the event page, and it shows the play button with me on it.
Oh well, yeah, because So basically, what's happening?
Oh, because I'm not playing.
Well, yeah. So what you saw was that intermittently throughout the Hangout, it's basically the paused screen. So it's trying to, Google Plus is trying to entice us, right? Say like, if you were just sitting on the page, here, let me refresh, and I'll show you what I mean. So if you landed on this page, but you weren't quite ready to click play yet, and you were just sitting here, in about 15 seconds or so, it would transition to a new thumbnail, right? Again, it's Google Plus saying, hey, you should click on the, thing. So it's just a still image right now, but good question. So it looks like I'm getting yes, do it, yes, perfect, awesome. Okay, so one thing I want to point out, right, before we get into this, for those of you who, most of you are people who were at the Earn 1K a Day event, but for those of you who weren't there, I had explained like there's a difference. There are Google Plus profiles and there are Google Plus pages, and Google prefers it that you have a Google Plus profile for you as a person, and then Google Plus pages for anything else. whether it's like a nonprofit or anything, the bottom line is that Google wants Google Plus profiles for people and Google Plus pages for everything else. The cool thing is that you can have as many pages as you'd like within the profile. Am I wrong there? Did I look at some? Anyway, you can have lots, right? If you can't have unlimited, you can have a lot of them, many pages. So basically, what I'm saying here is that you can have your personal profile, and then you can have these business entities as pages. They work independently from each other, and people like the end users don't see that your page is connected to your profile. Structurally, they are connected, but that's it. It's like the roots underneath the ground. Like no one sees the roots. You know that they're there. Bottom line again is that is what you're seeing here is that this Google Plus event page wasn't created by me, Zane Miller. It was created by my Google Plus page, the G-Tron marketing Google Plus page that I created from within my profile. So if we come up here, you can see on my screen, click the little drop down, you can see, hey, wow. So here's me, right? This is my personal profile, right? And this is my page, right? And here's a bunch of other pages. In fact, this 1K adventure, this is actually this is the Google Plus page that controls the YouTube channel 1K adventure that I used at the Earn 1K a Day event to do those quick little hangouts that I did for Dennis. So even though 1K adventure is a Google Plus page, and everyone sees it as a Google Plus page and as a YouTube channel, no one knows that it's connected to my personal profile. They just see it as 1K adventure. Like, oh, wow, that's pretty clever, right? So again, understand this, because I also want you guys to see that if you don't want to be on Google Plus, like yourself personally, right? You're like, oh, I've got Facebook and I've got Twitter. I've got all these things with my name on it. I want to use Google Plus, but just as a business. Can I do that? Yes, absolutely. You can operate entirely just as a Google Plus page and not your profile, and you're just using your profile just to appease Google, because that's how they want it structurally set out. So I want to demonstrate to you that you can see that this entire Hangout is happening because of this Google Plus page. It created the event page, it created the Hangout, and it's also created the private community for all the people who are going to be participating in this class. So again, so as you can see, I am logged into G-Tron Marketing as the Google Plus page. So I'm going to come over here to the flyout menu. I'm going to come down here to Events. When I click on Events, it's going to bring up another menu, and it's going to say, okay, so here are your upcoming events, right? Don't click on Plan a Hangout. If you click on Plan a Hangout, it creates just a regular Hangout and not a live Hangout on air, what you're experiencing right now. A regular Hangout isn't recorded and it's not done live. It's like having a Skype meeting, right? So when you come to this event section, please do yourself a favor and do not click Plan a Hangout, especially if you want to do something like what we're doing right now, like more of a Hangout, right? So again, don't click on Plan a Hangout, click on Create Event, and this brings us to this screen. This should look familiar because this is the header that we have for this event. I wanted to demonstrate also that you don't have to have this, but you can change the theme if you want. We can go through it. And you also notice this. Let me see, I should be able to zoom in. There we go. For those of you who are wondering, like, if you're doing screen share on a Hangout and you hit Control and you use your mouse wheel, you can zoom in like that, right? It's a little too close. Anyway, so do you guys see right here that this is actually animated, right? This river, right? If we can actually change the theme to something else, right? This, you can see the fire on the barbecue, right? So here's another thing that I want to point out is that Google Plus allows animated GIFs to be displayed. It's also the same reason why I was able to have that little animated GIF, the reaction of most marketers to Google Plus, because, well, it's all on Google. If I'm using the Google presentation, then I can also use GIFs, animated GIFs in the presentation, so you can see them live in real time. You can do the same thing with the banner of your event. So you can have the option to have a very interactive banner on your event page, right? So let's see. Let's just go ahead and do this one, right? Next thing you want to do is you give it a title. Now, here's something that a lot of marketers also don't notice is that public events, public posts in Google Plus can be found in the search results of Google. Now, I don't know a whole lot of posts in Facebook that can be found in Google just because of what it is, but it can definitely be found in Google Plus. If it's popular enough, then yeah, Google sees it as a page and should be shown in the search results. This is why a title of an event is important. Just like having the title of a YouTube video is very important, right? Like for those of you who, are a little more well versed with YouTube SEO and things like that, the title of the YouTube video. But I mean, if you think about it, that's kind of obvious, right? The title of anything, the title of a website, the title of a web page, the title of your blog, the title is super important. Same thing with events. So put a title in. I'm just going to write title, right? Whatever. And the next thing you want to do, you want to schedule it, right? So we're going to schedule it. Let's just go ahead and say, you know what? Actually, let's do this. I like this idea better. We're going to schedule it for the 21st. I think that's the best time to do it. And I'm going to set it for 12 p.m. While I'm doing this, Dennis, if there are any like burning questions that are coming up that you think that would be worth throwing out, feel free. Actually, I need to zoom out just a little bit here.
Okay.
I'm going to call this a live hangout on air. This right here, this is the location, right? Because Google Plus events are meant to be like Facebook events. Like if you're having like an actual like get together, you can send out, a Google Plus event just like you would like a Facebook event. So you can actually put the location of where your event's going to be if you're like doing a live hangout on air, like on location. So that's what it's actually meant for, this little field. But if I'm going to do a live hangout on air, I just write live hangout on air. The details here, this is just like your description of a YouTube video. This is where you put like, hey, this is all the awesome stuff. This is why you should watch this, right? And the next thing that I want to do, I don't want to click. I don't want to do the invite part just yet. I want to come back up here to event options and click on this, and I want to open up advanced. And in the advanced sections, I'm just going to click on show more options. And the reason for this is because I want the website URL, right? Just like I pointed out, this is where I would put. Nope. This is where I want. This is where I would want to put the this is where I would put if I were an affiliate, right? This is where I would put my affiliate link, right? Just like I put Dennis's affiliate link right there on the event page. The next thing that I want, the other reason why I want this is for the YouTube URL, right? So I'm just going to put that in here. I mean, this is technically this broadcast, but for demonstration purposes. In fact, no, I'm going to actually just take this a step further. Instead of just putting this in here, I'm going to show you how to do this next part. So I'm going to leave this. I'm going to put a pin in this for just a second because the next thing I want to do is I want to jump over to YouTube. Now, for those of you who are familiar with doing live hangouts on air, many of you have probably seen that there is a way to set up a Google Plus Hangout through Google Plus. And it's a perfectly valid and acceptable way to start a live hangout on air, but it doesn't give you the advanced settings that I like. So what we're doing here is I'm showing you how to create the event page, and then what I'm also doing once I got to a part where I actually need the YouTube video, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the live hangout through YouTube. Right? So I'm going to jump over to YouTube, and then I'm going to click on my little icon right here. And since let's see, I'm doing with this the G-Tron, so I want to make sure that I'm logged into the G-Tron Marketing YouTube channel. And then I'm going to come to my icon here, click this again, and click on Creator Studio. If this is looking very new to you guys, YouTube just barely made an update like 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe even a month ago. Yeah, sounds about right. So if this is looking like new to you, this is new. But basically everything is still in the same places. They're calling it different names now. So the Creator Studio basically takes you to the back end of your YouTube site or your YouTube channel. So once you're in here and you're in your Creator Studio here, you want to click on the Video Manager right here. And now YouTube is basically just giving these away, these live events, the option to do live events, and this is basically what gives you the ability to schedule live Hangouts on air through YouTube ahead of time. So as you can see right here in the live events, like this is live right now. Like this is we're doing this now. But we can come over here and click this button that says New Live Event, right? And this should also look very familiar, right? Because it's very much like like when you're uploading a YouTube video. So same rules apply here, right? Your title is very important, so I'm just going to write for speed's sake. All right, we've got title, and I'm just going to write title, and let's go ahead and like I said, we're going to schedule it for next Monday at 12 p.m. And you can see right here it says United States Mountain Time. I'm in Mountain Time, and I'm setting this up at Mountain Time, but whatever time zone that the end user is in, they will see it reflected at their time. So let's say that it was set for 12 p.m. Mountain. If I was in New York and I looked at the YouTube watch page, I would see it reflect as 2 p.m. right? So Google and YouTube figure out the time zone stuff. So when you're setting this stuff up, just set it to the time zone that you're currently in, and Google and YouTube will take care of the rest. Okay. So again, for speed's sake, I just want to get this done. Yes, I want to go ahead and say that this is public. And the time is set the way that I want it. And if you screw up, you can come back and you can edit this, right? Again, the point is to show you that with just a couple of clicks, when I click Create Event, it takes me back to this window here, and I can actually look at this, right? I can click on this and it'll take me to the watch page, right? And now, just like I was telling you guys before, here's the countdown timer. This Hangout is ready to go, so to speak, right? So the next thing that I want to do, because now we have to add this Hangout to the event page, right? So I'm going to take the URL, right? This is basically where the Hangout lives right now. I'm going to copy the URL and I'm going to come back over to my event page, and I'm going to come down here to my YouTube URL, and I'm going to drop that link right there. And just like that, again, just a few short clicks, we have everything, the guts pretty much put together. Of course, we would want to add more content to the details and add the official URL and probably change the banner and things like that. But for time's sake, we're just going to breeze right through it. As you're doing it, make sure and take the time to set all this up. The last and final field here is the To section. Now this will help you not just with events, but Google Plus in general, right? Everything. I think that one of the reasons why people are nervous with Google Plus is because Google Plus actually gives you a lot of freedom in how you want to convey your content and who you want to convey it to. Whereas Facebook, it's a little more rigid, but easier to, okay, this is all I can do. Whereas Google's saying, hey, you can do all sorts of things, right? And they always give you this option with everything, with every post, with every reshare, with every event, anything that has to do on Google Plus. It's basically saying, all right, tell us what you want to say, and tell us who you want to share it with. So with something like this, and something I did with this specific Hangout, is I intentionally made this just public, right? Because then I can market it in certain ways. Like I've only shared it with the public, which when it comes right down to it, when you say I want to share this with the public, you're not pushing it out. People aren't getting notified. The quote unquote public is not getting notifications in their Google Plus and email saying that, hey, this guy's made a post. When you say that it's when you want to post it publicly, it's just saying that anybody who is milling around Google Plus could see this if they were searching for it, right? So that's what public means. But you can add to it. You can say, I also want to share this with my circles, right? I want to share this with people like, Google Plus works with circles. It's just like when you friend somebody on Facebook, right? You friend somebody and then they friend you back and now you're connected. Circles work the exact same way. I circle you, and now in my Google Plus stream, I can see your posts. Just like when we become friends on Facebook, I can see your posts in my news feed. Now, if you circle me back, then posts that I make in my news feed, you can see in your stream. That's what circles are, right? So what I've done is I've said, yes, anybody can just stumble across this event and they can see it. But when I say I also want to share it with my circles, that's when Google Plus will start notifying people. Say, okay, you want to send this to all of your circles. Well, you know what? Maybe not all of my circles. Maybe I actually just want, move down, please. Maybe I just want, here, let me zoom out a little bit. I want, yeah, okay. Let's my G-Trons, right? Because this is the Google Plus page. This is anybody, basically anybody who has circled the G-Tron marketing Google Plus page. I've just circled it back, and anybody, and I've just said these are the G-Trons, right? So think of this like being able to segment an email list ahead of time, right? So if someone circles, if you log into your page and you see that a bunch of people have circled your page, then go ahead and circle them back. But you can decide, you can name the circle that you want to add those people to, right? So I'm going to say I want this to be shared with the public, so anybody can see this, and I also want my G-Troners, right? This 695 people that have circled my page and I've circled back and called them the G-Trons. I want them to be notified as well, specifically. Right? Now, if I wanted to get very specific, I could say, you know what? No, this is just meant for the G-Trons. I don't even want the public people to see this. In fact, I could say I could take it a step further and say this this right here, the Google Marketing Immersion class community. Right? This is the community that I created just for the people who are going to be a part of this class. And all one of me is in there. Right? So I can say that this event will only be shared with this one community or this one circle or everybody or all of my circles or the public and everybody else. Right? Again, what I'm trying to demonstrate here, guys, is that you have total control with who gets to see this particular event or post or picture or reshare, whatever it is. So at first, yeah, it's kind of daunting. I don't blame you guys. Like, wow, Google Plus, there's so much I can do. But at the same time, there's so much you can do, right? So as you're communicating with people on Google Plus, because I can tell you, people don't care where you market to them, as long as it works. So if you say, hey, I'm over here on Google Plus, they'll go. Happens to me all the time. I have more and more people. I have like 5,000 or 6,000 people circling me on Google Plus, and the numbers grow every single day. Right? Like wherever you want to push the traffic. I mean, case in point, we have now. Yep, still staying strong at like 90 people. All right, there's a whole bunch of people here. I don't know how many of you are super familiar with Google Plus, but because Dennis said, hey, go check it out on the event page, there's a whole bunch of people who registered. So it doesn't matter if you're using Google Plus, if you're using Facebook, if you're whatever it is that you're using, wherever you want to push the traffic to, they'll go if it makes sense. So you just need to make sure that wherever they land, like an event page like this, it makes sense. Even if you know nothing about Google Plus, you know that if you landed on a Google Plus event page that was public and live, you would know, oh, hey, cool, there's a video there. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to see if there's anything cool there. It just needs to make sense to the people when they actually land on it. So as far as to goes, like who you're going to share it with, that's totally your call, right? So let's just go ahead. We'll just leave it here. So when I click on this, I'm going to click on invite. This means that it's only, you can't invite that many people. Oh, my circles are too big, right? I'm just going to say public. I'm going to say public, or I'm even just going to say, forget it. I'm going to say my circles. How do you like that? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, go. All right, we're just going to stick with public then. Sometimes when you have a newer page, it doesn't let you be gone. Consider yourself done. There we go. So now it's going to generate, yeah, bandwidth is being sucked up. I get it. So it's just going to take a second for it to pop up. But when it does, it'll look exactly like the page that you're on right now and watching on the event page. In fact, it's going way too slow. So, all right, let me make sure. How are we doing over here, Dennis? Is this making sense? Oh, you're still muted there. Click your mute button up.
Oops. Yep. Sorry, Zane. There's some people that are having trouble following you, I'm afraid.
Oh, okay. No, by all means, please.
Yeah, going back and forth between Google Plus and YouTube and the events. And Teresa says her head's spinning a little, and she's going to want to see some written instructions and maybe a checklist. And
excellent. Okay, I've got plenty of those.
Carol says, "Why are you setting it up on YouTube and then putting it on your event page?" And
all right, well then.
Questions like that.
Yeah. All right. Cool. So, well, let's start with this. So, like specifically, because that is a really good question. Why would you create an event page and then create the YouTube video, right? Well, the reason for this is because again, as I touched on before, you can create a Hangout through Google Plus, but what I like the most here is that this event page actually shows up in the Google search and in the YouTube search. Like this event page by itself, the watch page, this YouTube page, this will show up. The event page will show up. They'll show up independently, but they'll also show up together. So that's basically the reason to get down to the simplest answer is that I like to set up the Hangout on YouTube and then set up the event on Google Plus so that I have as many links out there in the Google Ether, if you will, to bring people back to the same location, which is just the broadcast. I don't care whether people are watching the broadcast on the watch page or the event page or an affiliates page or their Facebook group. It doesn't matter. The whole point is to have as many opportunities to have links that are displaying the broadcast as possible. Let me know if that makes sense in the comments. Throw some more questions at me, Dennis. I want to make sure I answer as many as needed.
How many is too many to invite to an event? Do you know?
See, that's a good one because that was new. Before it really didn't matter. I'm going to say it's less than 500. It should be less than 500. That seems to be the sweet spot number of what I've heard. Because that's another nice thing. I'm gonna turn off the screen share for a second. That's one of the nice things about Google Plus is that they try and limit spam as much as possible. So there's actually like a limit on how many like broadcasts or not broadcasts. There's a limit to how many people that you can circle per day, so that basically spam machines don't get created just to eat up all the circles in Google Plus, if that makes sense. So I would actually have to dig in a little bit more and go ahead and watch the event page, and I'll have a response for that very soon after the Hangout. I just have to do some research on it because before it was, hey, invite as many people as you want, but the workaround to that, you saw how I just said, okay, you know what, I'm just going to make it public. When you make it just public, then you can go to that and then you can basically reshare from that. In fact, while you're looking for any more questions, I'll just show you guys. Back to the Google Plus is where I want to go. So it's kind of small. There we go. Okay, so here's the event that I just made, right? And this is basically the workaround that I like to use because you know how many people is too many people to invite. Again, I'll have to give you the data point on that later. But I made this public, so now I can just say, okay, I'm going to share the event now, and now I'm going to share it with, 492. Okay, let's test this right now. Is that 2 minutes? Okay, nope. So it looks like by the other circle I had like 609. This circle that I just shared it with had 492. So okay, as long as it's less than 500. But you saw that I just broke it up into smaller circles, right? I shared it publicly. Now I can go ahead and I can share it again with okay, now I'm going to share it with the following circle that only has 2 people in it. And let's go ahead and throw VIPs in there too. Go ahead and share that, right? So you can see that I just made it public and I found my little workaround. Okay, I can't do a whole bunch of circles at once. All right, I have to share them individually or something like that. So does that answer your question? Let me know in the comments there. But this is like I said, this is the event page that was created that I just walked through. Yes, I created the Google Plus event page first, and then I created the YouTube, the actual Hangout through YouTube. And I embedded the YouTube Hangout onto the event page, and now again the YouTube video as a Hangout will be out there in the Google Ether as well as the public event page, so people can be found. People can find it from anywhere. Is this making sense? Again, I want to make sure that I don't just plow through all this content and keep confusing people.
Yeah, I think the fact that there's going to be a replay, obviously, is going to help some people to watch it again.
Good,
and,
good.
Mark has a good question here. Can you follow up with the registrants after the Hangout? Are they automatically added to a circle on registration?
That is a very, very good point. So here, let's go ahead and back out of this, and I'll show you. I will show you while I answer the question. Back to this here. Let's see. So I'm pretty sure there was a way to actually I don't think there's an automated way to do it.
What's that message to the right of guest?
This means like so. Ha! Thank you, Dennis. You just figured that out for me.
Yeah, aren't I smart?
Nicely done. Nicely done. You know what that deserves? Give me just 1 second. 1 second. I got something for this, and that very, very keen eye. So to answer your question, yes, you can send a message, right? So okay, this is to send a message. Basically, they'll even get a mess. Oh, come back. Where'd you go? There we go. Guess we'll get a message to your post, email, and notification, right? So you can create a circle for these people. But what you'll have to do is you'll have to go in and circle each individual one of them. But like Dennis said, right, you can actually go to the event page and click message. Since I'm the one that created it, I can say, okay, this is the message I'm going to send to everybody. Or I can say, I don't want to send a message to the haven't responded or the maybes. I just want to send a message to the people who said yes. I could say, like, but and so there you go. I hope that should answer the question, and thank Dennis for his keen eye, because I didn't even notice that myself. Got any more? Let's see. Let's see. We can probably create a circle with just your staff. Makes totals. Really neat little circle. Awesome. Okay. Thanks. Very helpful. Get it. Everything is interrelated. Yes, that. You know what, Robin? Thank you for making that comment, because it is. That's actually the reason why I have a really nerdy Google Plus community called G-Tron Marketing, because it's. Well, you guys saw the presentation, or heard it at least. Like, there's all these different properties of Google Plus, Hangouts, YouTube, even AdWords for video, and they're all interconnected. And since I'm a big nerd, there was a TV show in the 80s called Voltron, and I'm getting off into the weeds. Point is that yes, everything is interrelated, and the better you understand that, the more powerful Hangouts and Google Plus event pages will be for you. So. Okay, got that answered. Any others that were jumping out to you, Dennis, in particular?
No. Let's keep going if you got more.
Yes. Yes, I do. All right. So with that said, we went through all the parts. It took a little bit longer than I thought, but that always seems to be the case, right? Like I've only got like 45 minutes, and no, I don't. I've got more than that. So let's get back to the presentation, shall we? So let's get this back up and share the screen like so. So the key was the events. So we want to review real quick. You guys saw how Dennis did it, right? How me and Dennis did it, and then I walked you through how to make an event page yourself, of which take some notes. I'll have some additional written instructions as well, but very simple. Again, it can be used in many different aspects, not just as like the presenter, but if you are an affiliate of the presenter, right, you could just take the YouTube code and then put it on your own event page and then put your affiliate link on that event page, and the presenter does all the work, right? Same reason why the benefit that Dennis is going to get from this, right? So at this point, I'm sure you guys, I've been teasing this out enough as it is, but that's really the cornerstone. It's the events. That's what gets you the registration. That's what gets you the questions. It's what's able to get you everything. And after this is over, it still floats out there in the Google ether. People can stumble across this. Dennis can push traffic to this exact event page, or he can say, you know what, I don't like the event page. I'm going to push traffic to just my the embedded video on my web page. Doesn't matter. The broadcast can be leveraged anywhere. And this is the point that I wanted to get to earlier, is that this is why I believe that Hangouts are better than GoToWebinar. You can have your multicast, right? You can be broadcasting across many, many different platforms. Hell, you could be broadcasting across like multiple forums, right? Like everybody here's pretty familiar with the Warrior Forum, but there's a lot of other forums out there that are very similar to Warrior Forum. You could have an offer in each and every one of their special offer sections, and have that Hangout embedded on each and every one of those sales pages. And as soon as it goes live, you'd have multiple places where it's being broadcast from. Same thing goes for affiliates. This is why, again, I believe it's more powerful, and it's free. As long as you're leveraging the Hangouts, and again, you're leveraging the Google Plus event page, and you're okay with using Google Plus, which you already know 98% of the people are already logged into it anyway, and they don't care as long as everything makes sense wherever they land, you might as well use it. So, what am I offering? Right? This is actually talked about for a while now, right? And it's about time I actually make good on my promise here. What I've got is a 4-week Google marketing class. You can already see that we're touching on week 1. This was actually going to be 3 weeks. But Debbie Drum, Debbie or Deborah, let me know. She actually, we were talking, and she's like, well, yeah, 3 weeks is great, but you should actually have 4 weeks, and you should have a review. So it wasn't going to be 4 weeks. So thank Debbie for that, because she's the one that convinced me to do it. So week 1, it's going to be, this is basically before, right? This is like all the stuff that we talked about today, and then a little bit more. Again, most of this hinges on Google Plus events, but there's not much more than this. So I promise you guys, if this seems a little confusing with the Google Plus event, if you jump in on this, it will be explained. Well, explained until you get it, right? And we can go through it, as long as we need to. But basically, it's getting everything ready. That's why I call it before. It's everything that you're going to do before a Hangout or a web event, or like obviously there's a lot of you aren't here for just like Hangouts as like a sales presentation. So there's plenty of opportunity that you can use the same format. Like you're not forced to do it as a webinar, but seeing as we're in the internet marketing space, most people want to use Hangouts as a webinar platform. But really, you need to understand how Google Plus works enough to be able to make this happen, right? So week 1 is all about, you know, getting everything ready, right? If you have a Google Plus profile, but you don't have any Google Plus pages, and you don't want to be on Google Plus personally, but you want to be on it as a business, this is what we're going to be going through during week 1, right? And you know, again, how it connects with YouTube, Hangouts, and the rest of social media, right? Because that's the beauty of it. If you set it up right, you can be multicasting, not just in Google Plus, not just on YouTube, but also in Facebook, Pinterest, wherever you put those links, that's where it's going to broadcast from, right? Week 2, this is during, right? So the Hangout bells and whistles. This is all the stuff. This is you know, like you can see, like Dennis has right here. Right, he has this lower third, so you can see there's you know, Dennis Becker, and just underneath that, earn1kaday.com. You know, these are apps within Hangouts that you can use and leverage, and if you know how to do it right, you can make it look really good and really professional. And even if things, you know, kind of snag like they did for me, you can be able to anticipate it, move with it, and keep moving forward, just like it happened earlier today. The focus here in week 2 is mastering the Hangout, right? Week 1, we're focusing on getting everything put together and set up and ready to go, and ready to go. You know, just boom. Week 2 is all about the during the process. You know, this is how you're going to use the Hangout. This is the apps that you're going to use. These are the best tools. And again, I kind of geeked out about the whole Google the Google Drive PowerPoint presentation. We'll be even going through how to use that, whatnot, because they're like all the images that I have. I didn't have to download any of them. Like, Google gave me the option to just use the URL of the image on somebody else's website. Like, all that stuff, they were none of my own images. Like, I just found them on Google, and Google totally let me use the images. It was awesome. So mastering Hangouts, that's week 2, right? Week okay. Not on, yep. All right. Week 3 is after, right? This is leveraging Google Plus and the rest of social media to amplify your reach, right? This is what I call social syndication. And if you're watching this through on Dennis's webpage or in his Facebook groups or anywhere else that he's urged you to go, that's social syndication right there. I like to leverage social syndication, especially if I don't have a product, which I don't have all the time. Like I said, there's a lot of times where I'm just like doing the work, and sometimes I don't have a product to sell. I'm like, oh, geez, I should really like run an affiliate offer, right? So I will leverage this. I will leverage Hangouts and YouTube and Google Plus, and I can actually, you know, make some pretty decent affiliate commissions. Even if I'm not fully prepared. Like I said, I actually did this with Barbara Ling, and I wish I had time to go through it, but maybe I'll have something a little bit later for you guys. Basically, a case study. You can see earlier this week, Barbara Ling was like, "Hey, I've got this product. You should totally promote it." And I felt bad because I didn't think I would be able to do a very good job with it, and I did a couple things with Hangouts, and it's actually doing pretty well. So as a final point for week 3, we'll also be digging into YouTube, because it's not like once you've set everything up in Google Plus and you've done the Hangout, afterwards, like there's a huge, in fact, probably more value in a replay than the actual live event. I mean, it's awesome that we still have wow, we got a ton of people still here. So as awesome as it is as this live interaction, the replay is also incredibly valuable, because when people make comments on the replay, I still get notified. Guys, like, if you're watching this, just do me a favor right now. Do me a favor right now. If you're watching this as a replay, make a comment right now, because I want to show you how powerful that is. I get notified of those comments. I can interact with you even after the live broadcast is over. You can't do that with GoToWebinar. It's just not possible, right? Like, you can't interact with a replay after the replay unless you have some, like, you know, integrated comment system in later, right? So there's a lot of really awesome things that can be done with YouTube, because, hey, guess what? Once the broadcast is over, it becomes a YouTube video. So you have a digital asset. Did you have to render the video afterwards? No. Did you have to upload it to YouTube? No. It's all done automatically, which, I mean, that's a time saver right there. I mean, how, and I don't even get me started. I can't even count how many times I have tried to render a Hangout, or not a Hangout, sorry. I've tried to render a GoToWebinar, and I just got that window that pops up that every marketer hates that does a webinar. It says, sorry, it didn't work. Just sorry. No recording. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Exactly. So you don't have to figure out the most optimal size for rendering the webinar and everything like that. You don't have to upload it to YouTube. And believe me, that has stopped me numerous times. Like, I've rendered it. I have tons of fully rendered webinars on my external hard drive just sitting there. I could have uploaded them to YouTube. I'm the YouTube guy. I should know better. But they're not up there because it was just an extra step, and I got busy, and I would have done it, and I could have done it, but I didn't. And I should have. Hangouts just take care of it for you. So we will, in week 3, we will definitely be digging into YouTube because I want to show you how easy it is to take one asset and turn it into multiple assets and use that as ways to even automate your promotion, right? And finally, we have week 4, which is, again, it's the bonus review, right? I assume after 3 weeks of training, just like this intense training, you're going to want to see like a big picture of what to do and get some questions answered. So that's what week 4 is designed for. Like, I'm just going to be dumping all this education on you, and you're going to be consuming it, and just to have an extra week of review and to get a few of those extra questions that just are niggling in the back of your mind, going, hey, I'm curious about this. That's what week 4 is about, right? Oh, right. I have these little notes, for me. Show them the cool Google thing, right? So let me pull this up. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I'm moving windows around stuff. So here's the thing. Let me show you this cool thing. I showed you that how to basically set up the live event, right? Get everything going, right? This should look familiar to you. I'm going into my Creator Studio and then into my Video Manager because I want to show you something with this, right? This is the cool Google Plus thing. By the way, this is what I did with Barb. See that? 948 views. Woo! All right. Into the live events, right here, right? So I can actually go in here, even in real time, and I can edit this, and I can say, you know what? I don't want this to be public. I want this to be unlisted, which means that if you have the link, then you can see it, right? So Dennis and I already talked about this. Actually, we're going to keep the Hangout, this Hangout public for a while, right? And then I'm going to switch it to unlisted because I may want to do this again, but I don't want Dennis's Hangout to crowd my other Hangouts, right? Like if you're watching this on the YouTube watch page and you see, hey, here's this other Hangout, like here's the same Hangout of the same name, just a little bit different. Nah, but I still want to give Dennis ample opportunity to be able to push traffic to that Hangout. So I can just switch it to unlisted, and then he can just keep pushing traffic to it, and people don't know anything otherwise. It just doesn't show up in the search engines. Right? So you can have this public event, this public Hangout, and be like, yeah, it's for everybody. And then you can say, all right, I'm gonna take back a little bit. You can say, you know what? Only people who have the link can see this. I can take it a step further. I can say, you know what? This is private, and I'm only going to share it with my customers. You see that? So here's what ends up happening. If I set this to private, and I say only this circle can see this, then people can, even if they had the link to the YouTube video itself, and they went to that link, if they were not a part of this circle that I choose, then they can't see it. It just says, sorry, this video is private. Mind blown, right? I mean, we have now been able to eliminate GoToWebinar, perhaps maybe even Aweber, right? Because we can contact people in these circles, and we can say, I don't want to blast this to everybody that I know. I only want this to be in a certain segment. And as I was saying before, 98% of people are already logged into Google Plus anyway, and if there's going to be some kind of notification, Google Plus is going to email them with, guess what, the Gmail address associated with it. And who isn't on Gmail? Right? So we've eliminated Aweber. We can also start eliminating wish list member, because as I said before, everything with Google Plus, you get to decide who gets to see what. So if I say only these circles, only my customer circles can see this YouTube video, only my customer circle can see this Hangout, only my customers can see this event page. They're the only ones that can see it. No one else can see it. And even if they did get the link, Google Plus puts that barrier and says, sorry, you're not in the circle, so you can't see it. So back to this, show them the cool Google Plus thing, because that's basically how this content is going to be delivered out. I have, as I've shown you previously in this Hangout, I have created a very special Google Plus community. In fact, you know what? No, actually, it's on my other tablet. This means that this community, this is how I'm going to be delivering the content. This is how you're going to be able to interact with me and ask all the questions that you want. In fact, I'm probably going to have some assistance, because, well, there's a lot of questions that I'm sure you'll have, and so I want to be able to answer any and all of them. So it's not just going to be week 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's a bunch of content. Nope. I do too much of YouTube. I'm too invested into it. So I want to be able to make sure that you can ask any and all questions that you have. It's not just these static individual lessons that you're going to have. We're in a community, just like a Facebook group, and you can just hammer in all the questions that you want, because I want you guys to be able to master this just as much as I have, to be so fluent in this that even if things go wrong, you're able to just move through it and take that next step, because you all know how powerful webinar marketing is. You all know how powerful Hangouts can be, and how they can augment the concept of webinars. So I want to make sure that you can be in the place where you can have all your questions answered. But I also, like, all the questions you have, probably like 5 other people who are thinking that same thing. So if you're going to ask questions to me, you might as well ask it in a community where I can address them, other people can address them, as well as having, like I said, a couple of other experts to help manage the questions. But that's what it's meant for. Not just, hey, this is where the content is going to be and where you can sign up and you can go through the motions and understand how it is, but you can be able to act and interact with me, right? So let's look at some of these hard costs, right? And again, these are just estimates, right? Aweber, $30 a month. Yeah, it could be more, right? Because it's based on how many subscribers you have. Wishlist member, last time I checked, it was about $100. Easy video player, again, the last time I saw promotion was around $300. Optimized press, around $100. GoToWebinar, I know if you dug through, you could still find the cheap, like, I don't know, the cheapest I ever got it was $99. But Dennis, weren't you saying that if people searched hard enough, they could find one for $79?
At one point, that's what I'm paying, but I've owned it for I don't know how many years, so maybe
right.
grandfathered in, and maybe those links are no longer available. $79 a month for 1,000.
Okay.
People registered, but Hangouts, you said there's no limit.
Yeah.
To how many people can be on a Hangout instead of 1,000. And there's many months that I don't have a webinar, and I still pay the $79 a month. So, that's a deterrent too.
Yeah, that's a very good point. There's plenty of times where, like, hey, maybe you're just having a slow month, or maybe you just don't feel like doing webinars. You still have to pay for it regardless, right? So
yeah, otherwise you lose your grandfathered rate. So
yes, I remember those days. So in fact, that's why I started looking into Hangouts more, is because I lost that. I had it for $99, and then they raised the price, and I went, oh well, I guess I'll look at this Hangout stuff, and I'm kind of glad I did. So yeah, we're looking at some hard costs, and if you really want to start digging into it, it's not just Aweber, it's not in any of these one things, right? But you're talking like I don't know, doing the math, $600, $700, $800, $1,200 a month, and that's just kind of taking a random estimate. So a good $1,200 a month of hard costs. And again, guys, the point that I really want to illustrate here is that there's nothing wrong with GoToWebinar, but if you got a random idea and you just want to test it out, like that's how most of these things started. I mean, that's how I started with YouTube. I went, I wonder if I could sell education about YouTube on the Warrior Forum, because it was like back in like 2009 when people didn't give a crap about YouTube. You know, I just wanted to test it out. So yeah, like Warrior Plus was at the time it was like $20, and the post was like $20, and all right, I could spend $40. That'd be fine, you know. But if I could have done it for free, I would have done it a heck of a lot sooner. So point is that if you can do it for free and you have the ability to do it, which you do now, right? You know, that keystone is that Google Plus event. If you want people to register, bam, that Google Plus event page, that's yours. That's the way to do it. And it takes out all of these fees, right? So I got to ask, now that we're getting down to towards the end of this, do you guys see the value here? Can you let me know? I do know that we went into some pretty deep stuff, and I do talk pretty fast. But I'm pretty sure I got to most of the questions, and I'm happy to answer more. But I'd really like to know, do you see the value? Go ahead in the comments. Let me know. Yes, no, hey, this sucks. It's terrible. I'm just kidding. If you guys see the value, then this will make sense. If you're not using the tools, if you're not using these tools, right, that you just saw, then you're just wasting money. That's obvious, right? So maybe we can use a free tool, learn how it works, and then be able to invest in these other tools if we really want to, right? So back to the offer, right? This is what we're leading up to, right? I should be charging $197 for this, right? Unfortunately, I was talking with Dennis and I was talking with Barb, and we were chatting back and forth, and I was like, oh yeah, this is like I'm investing 4 weeks of my time, right? Because I can't just do it halfway. Like I am in, right? So I'm going to be in this community pretty much 24/7 for the next 4 weeks, and I'm going to be constantly, you know, thinking about how's the best way to give this content. How can I best teach this? This is all I'm going to be thinking about for a month. So I'm like, yeah, $197 totally makes sense because that's going to be worth my time. Well, unfortunately for me, they thought that I said 97. So I'm like, I don't know. I had like, I mean, it needs to be worth my while, right? I either I don't have to talk to people and I can just do the YouTube stuff and I can make money, or I have to talk to people and interact with them, and I don't know. So 97 was just whatever. I'll offer this for 97 because again, it was a typo on my part, and Dennis and Bar were like, yeah, all right, cool, 97, and then I was like, no, I didn't say 97, but like I kind of got stuck. So if you guys click the link below, then you'll be able to scoot this up for $97, and it's with me for 4 weeks. Like you've got me in a community, you've got me in Hangouts, you've seen the power. Like it's basically the 4 weeks, these 4 classes. Each of them are going to be taking place just like it's happening now on an event page, and it'll also be broadcast in the community if you really want to watch it there. Wherever you want to watch it, you'll be able to watch, you'll be able to comment, and even after it's over, you'll be able to comment on the same page, and I'll be notified. You'll also be able to be in the Google Plus community, and you'll be able to ask questions directly to me. Like I said, I'll also have some additional people in there to manage the questions, so don't worry about just, you know, throwing your questions in. We are going to start next Monday, so you're going to want to get into this. We're starting live on Monday, again, I'm going to strongly urge that you click the link below and jump on this because, well, I do like this. I like this idea. I had a really great time, and I'm seriously considering doing this more often than just, you know, once. right? Not just like, hey, here's a recording. I want to do these live classes a couple times, see if this is something for me. But I can promise you guys, it is not going to be $97. I'm not going to dive in, head first into something for 97. I guess Jason kind of spoiled me because he's always got those higher price stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I love 197 products.
Yeah, his would be $497 or $697, right?
Yeah.
I do appreciate that pricing, Zane, from Barb and I twisting your arm, and I told Zane I would sort of throw something of my own into the hat here if we get some people to sign up today, and that I don't know, a lot of you that are inside Earn 1K a day are probably familiar with my Becker's notes of some of the coaching things that we've done. Webinars, and 6 to 6 coaching webinars, and the Sean Mize coaching and all that, where a bunch of audios or videos that take 60, 90 minutes or a couple hours sometimes, and you aren't sure you really want to go through them until you really see what you got going in. And I saw some of the comments in the chat today saying, well, I wish there was something written about this. And what I told Zane is I'd do Becker's notes on the 4 weeks of the training that he's going to be doing. If there's anything that you're confused about, it points in this Hangout. I think Zane got thrown and started going back and forth and confusing people. What I can do is I think I'll have his attention and say, Zane, you said this in the Hangout, in week 2, but I wasn't sure I understood it. So could you clarify it so we get it, definitely right in the notes, so that people can, obviously people should be watching the full Hangout of each class anyway, but when you're confused, you don't want to go through an hour and a half, 2 hours of rewatching just to see what you missed or see what you forgot. So that's why we have the notes to remind you. Like if you were going to a seminar and or a class in college and you'd be taking notes and then you just review before you have the final exam and all that. You don't watch the full playback of it. So I'll throw that in for no extra charge as long as Zane has cut his price, and I think maybe that'll help some people.
Awesome. That is fantastic, Dennis. Yeah.
Who's that? All of a sudden we get some feedback. Where'd that come from?
Hey, it's from all the people. If they would be clapping, they would be, especially for something like that. I can tell you, as you can see, I'm very big picture, very high-minded. So having somebody who's more detail-oriented, like Dennis, coming in and going, wait, can you clarify these points? I'm happy to do so, but if you say, Zane, sit down and write down all these details, I will find anything else to do but that, right? I'm just not a detail-oriented guy. So
okay, we got some questions on we got some questions on the link here, Zane. Sort
Excellent.
Of important.
Okay. Right.
One person says exactly where is the link. So if you're on the event page to the right of all the comments, it says official site. I think that's where they click, right? And then it'll go to the JVZoo page. But even more important, someone here says the JVZoo says access your purchase is not working. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So here's what we're gonna. I can take care of all of this right away. So first thing. If you're watching on the watch page, right, just like on regular YouTube, the link's right here. When I said click the link below, that was what I was talking about here. You don't even have to click the show more. It's right there above the fold if you want to use internet marketing terminology. So if you're watching on the watch page, there it is. The event page, if you're watching it on the event page, it's right here. The official site, right? Click on that.
Or if you're watching on my blog page, there's a link on that page.
Yes.
If you're still over there.
And I'll also drop it in right here in the chat, right? That should show up any second now. So here's the next thing, right? So when it says the accessing the purchase, I'm very sorry about that. That was my bad. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I would like you to do. what I need you to do is hop on over to the Google Pluses, right? And just send me a message, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, and it's really, really super simple. If you can't do this with Google Plus or you don't want to, then you can also send me an email, right? So this is basically, this is how I'm going to get you into the community, and that's basically where you're going to be accessing your purchase. Again, that was my fault. That was the one thing I totally spaced it on, of like the redirect, right, where you're going to go. So here's what I'm going to have you do. For those of you who are watching the replay, that should already be taken care of by now. But for those of you who are watching live, just go over to Google Plus and you click on your link, just like, click on the little space, and in the to section right here, just write Zane. That should. Anytime. Yeah, there we go. Right. That's all you got to do. Right, and then just say, hi, I bought here. Right. I didn't spell that right. There we go. Here's my receipt, and then just put the receipt information in here, and then click share. And basically, what that does is it sends me a personal message directly to me, right? And then what I'll do is I will basically send you access to the Google Plus community, right? Let me show you what that Google Plus community looks like. So you're not. I need to actually go over here. There we go. Make sure I'm on the right thing. And I'm going to come over here into communities. I have this community set up in such a way, right? It's private. It means that you can't even find it in the search engines, right? So you'll send me a message, and then I'll come over here, and then I will click on the invite people, right? And then I will send you a direct invitation to come into the community of the Google Marketing Immersion class for buyers. Right, and you can see right here, here's the pinned post, and this pinned post right here is where you're going to be able to access everything, and then of course you'll also be able to write comments and make and pose questions and things like that. I have this set up intentionally, so for those of you who are not as well versed in Google Plus, this just throws you right in, and now you're in a community, but you're in a community with not just me and a couple of other experts, but also all the rest of your fellow investors, and you will also be able to pose questions to each other and communicate and all that other kind of stuff. So again, just real quick, the link here, if you're watching on the event page, is right here. It's also here in the chat section. Also in the on the watch page, it's right down here. Right, this whole multicast that we were talking about before. Once you have bought, all you got to do is reach out to me directly, right? And say, send a message on Google Plus, or you can send me an email at zane@infospring. Right, there's my email address right there. I will put it on the event page as well. Send me a message, say, hey, here's my receipt, and then I will go through and I will send you the invitation to the Google Plus community. And I will make sure that you are in there. If there are any issues, again, I'm basically got to be customer service. So that's my email address if you have any questions, if this isn't working. But again, the point is it's designed to get you into the Google Plus community so you can be immersed, see it, interact with it, and not be afraid of Google Plus anymore. So I hope that answers your question. Dennis, do you think that got it good?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you gave them your contact details, so.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And again, for those of you who are watching the recording, the link will already be taken care of. I'll have a page set up where all of this information I just explained will be on a page, and you can access it from there. So again, terribly sorry about that.
And you said you'd be watching the questions as they flow in, even after the Hangout today ends, and
oh yeah, absolutely,
people watching from the recording, so you'll not in real time, obviously, because you do sleep a little bit, I guess, but
right, sometimes it's overrated.
You'll respond to people.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, happy to respond after this Hangout's over too.
And as far as getting my Becker's notes for the people that sign up through my link today or whenever through the recording, you can contact me, and people have my email address anyway because I had sent out a promo from my email account. So
I'm
just somebody
curious.
I bought and put me on the list for the Becker's Notes for the Zane
Nice.
Miller Hangout immersion course or whatever we're calling it.
So, okay, fantastic.
I'll set up a special email list for those people.
Fantastic. Okay. Responding to people. All right. So I actually had another kind of random idea. Let me know what you think about this, Dennis. So like I said, I'm always thinking about this. I'm always working on this, and it's Thursday now. I have the class basically set for Monday at well, we can come up with a time. I have it set for 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. But if you guys have any suggestions, by all means, this is an interactive course, guys. So if you're like, hey, actually, I vote this time. Regardless, it's always going to be done and it's always going to be recorded. So, but for those of you who have some feedback on the time, I don't really care. But it's technically starting on Monday. I want to give anybody who has the desire to just jump in with both feet. If you guys are interested, I'll do a special offer where basically like in the next 48 hours, if you buy within the next 48 hours, I will have like a how would I put this, like a Hangouts 0, right? Like before the first one, there's like the first one, right? So I'm thinking we could do it either on Saturday or Sunday. Either works for me. Personally, I like Sunday a little bit more because it's a little more laid back. Yeah, for those of you who purchase within the next 48 hours, you can jump in on the Hangouts 0, right? But it's only for people who are going to be buying again within the next 48 hours. What do you think of that, Dennis? Or should we just limit it to just like, maybe we should just limit it to like the people who hear live? Maybe that's a better idea. What do you think?
Yeah, and what I think about Hangouts and the way they're automatically rendered up to YouTube, I think there's going to be a lot of people watching the replay that think they're live.
Good point. Good point.
No, I think give it a date and time cutoff and do it at that. Anybody that registers before Friday midnight or something, whatever you want to do.
Okay. Yeah. I like Friday at midnight, right? So today is Thursday. Tomorrow, tomorrow's Friday. By midnight is your time. Let's go ahead and say midnight Pacific time, just to so everybody. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Okay. And I would. Wilson had asked. He said that I don't see your email. I went ahead and dropped it on the event page. Again, it is Zane@infospringmedia.com. In fact, I can go one better. Instead of that, I'll write that email address. Springmedia.com. On the fly, just like boom, lower thirds. There you go. Right there. There's my email address. Again, for those of you like those of you who are purchasing, try and reach out through Google Plus because that is kind of like the foundation. So I know like the knee-jerk reaction is to send an email, but try and reach out through Google Plus because like you're going to be learning more of that. But of course, there's the email address there. Any other questions that we've got, Dennis? Aside from that random, like, okay, we'll do a Hangouts 0 if you buy before tomorrow night at midnight Pacific Standard.
No, I think you'll be going through the questions later anyway, right? So
yeah. I'll be going through the questions and I'll responding, text-wise. But if you guys have more burning questions that are coming up, please let us know. But that's pretty much everything. Again, I know I talked fast. I actually had a lot more that I wanted to have to add to this. But as I was going through the presentation, I was like, wow, we're only going to be able to talk about Google Plus events, and that's it. So it was great. It was great being here. Let's see. So See, orientation will be on what day? Orientation will so that if you're referencing Hanginar Zero, right? I'd say, let's go just go ahead. I'm going to do it on Sunday. Sunday afternoon. It's a nice relaxing day for me, and I love talking about this. So Sunday afternoon is when it's going to be. I will post it in the Google Plus community, right? The private Google Plus community. Between now and then, I'm just going to be adding everybody who's bought into the community, making sure that the buy link works properly, all that other kind of stuff. So that Hanginar Zero will be on Sunday afternoon, and then we will be starting on Monday afternoon. And if you guys have suggestions, things that if you have a time preference, by all means, I'm willing to listen. But in the afternoon. Dennis, any more thoughts as we've gone through this as far as the content goes? Any questions that you have yourself?
No, not really. I did have one a while back, but oh yeah. Let's say that you set up a YouTube video,
Mm-hmm.
and I was your affiliate.
Right.
Okay. Now, could I and other affiliates have our own event pages, all pointing to your single YouTube video?
Yep. Yes. Yes.
And on my event page, I would have my affiliate link, and on somebody else's event page, they would have their affiliate link. And I think that's really pretty powerful. As a merchant, with a lot of products, I can see the benefit of that.
Yeah. Actually, no, that was something I wanted to bring up. It takes a little bit of finagling, but technically, if somebody was not keen on doing a Hangout and they were only keen on doing webinars, you know how there are plenty of people, right, who will go on who will join a webinar and then they'll just use Camtasia to record it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a piece of software out there that will allow you to basically broadcast what's on your screen as a Hangout. So, right, I mean, I'm sure most of you are probably already way ahead of me on this. You could join a webinar as an attendee, but display it as a Hangout. And then you can join, you can have unlimited people watching that Hangout, and somebody else is doing all the work for you. Right, so even if you couldn't, let's think about it in the terms of like an affiliate marketer, right? So if you're an affiliate marketer and you don't have your own product, how would you be able to do it? Well, obviously you'd say, hey, you go to a product creator and say, we should totally do a live Hangout on air. Right, and I'll take care of everything, and it'll be super simple. If they turn you down and say, no, that doesn't sound like a good idea, but you should promote my webinar. Well, maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe instead you do, like I said, you join as an attendee. There's a piece of software called Anycam that would allow you to, again, broadcast that webinar through your Hangout just as an affiliate, right? And that's just an idea off the top of my head, right? If you didn't have your own product and you wanted to do it as an affiliate. That's something that again, as we were talking about, like, well, if I'm a merchant, right? If I'm in fact, no, case in point, who was it? Gene Pimentel actually reached out to me and he's like, hey, is this going to be can anybody sell this? And I'm like, well, yeah, I think so. He's like, great, so how do I do it? And then I explained just like you. I said, well, you take this YouTube link that I've already created, and then you would put this link on a newly created event page, and then just put your affiliate link in there. And he went, great, just like that. So multiply Gene by like 100. Why not? If you could get 100 affiliates, you just do step 1, create the event page. Step 2, embed the YouTube video. Step 3, add your affiliate link. Done.
That's great. That's like rebranding, even easier.
Yep.
I love that as a product creator. I love that.
Right. And it gets even better because every place that you embed this Hangout, it's a backlink. That's SEO right there. Like, I mean,
Oh,
like,
wow.
right? Yeah. So even though it's an event page on Google's own platform, Google still interprets as, well, here's a link here and here's a link here. There's two links there. All right, fantastic. That must mean that this is in demand. So you know how we were going, like, the part that kind of confused everybody, where I was bouncing back and forth between Google Plus and YouTube. The other benefit of setting up that Hangout through YouTube is that it creates that YouTube watch page, and it becomes a searchable page before it even becomes a Hangout. So then if you've got 100 affiliates that embed that Hangout on their own event pages, well, you've already got 100 backlinks before the Hangout even started.
Hmm.
Right? So, and this is more of what I'm going to be touching on in week 3, right? If we fast forward a couple of weeks, we go, okay, we've set everything up with Google Plus. We've got your Google Plus business page, and your Google Plus business page has created an awesome public community, and it's created a YouTube page, and it's created a Hangout. Now it's got this content. What do you do with it? Well, you distribute it in these certain ways. And then during week 1, it's all the stuff that you do beforehand. Like, okay, we set up the event page, but who can we share this with before the event even goes live? How can we leverage that social syndication and get that backlink and that SEO juice before it even starts? How could we use this for pre-launch? How could we use this for getting JVs and affiliates? How can we use this? I could go on forever. I'm still wondering where the home shopping network is on this whole Hangout, right? Like, why hasn't the home shopping network? Why are they not here? I don't know. I don't care, because there are so many opportunities that Hangouts alone provide that we can dive into in all sorts of crazy rabbit holes in the community. So again, guys, the links are easily available, and below, or maybe just to the right, depending on where you're watching this. Jump on that and contact me either through email or through Google Plus. I'll get you into the community, and you can start asking questions right away. I would love to be talking with somebody instead of just myself, because that's what I do a lot of the times. Right? I just talk to myself, and hey, that sounds like a good idea. It's rare that I can actually reach out to, like, Dennis or Barb and get feedback. So
let me just summarize.
Yeah.
My thoughts. I've gotten a couple aha moments out of this free Hangout today.
Mm-hmm.
What you just shared, I didn't even know that, and I'm going to certainly take advantage of it. But I would gladly pay $97 or more for just one aha moment that made me some money, eventually, or gave me a tip on how to do a little bit better than my competition. I got an idea that there's going to be 6, 8, 10, 50 aha moments by the time you finish your 4 classes plus your class 0. I would jump in, but
well, it's a good thing you're already going to be there, right? Because we got to have the gotta have the Becker's notes, right?
Yeah, you committed to let me in for free, so I can make Becker's notes out of it. So
you're sly. I knew that's what you were doing.
There was a reasoning in my cheapness.
Right. So, well, we've still got a lot of people on this Hangout, guys. If you have any questions, please drop them in. But this is what we're here for. I got a lot of attention. I wasn't expecting it at the Earn 1K a Day event, because a lot of people have been so resistant to Google Plus. It totally blew my mind. And when I got to the event, everyone was so amped about it. I figured, wow, okay. They're ready. Like the audience is ready, so we need to do this class. So it's something that I would much rather, like, instead of spending weeks just toiling away trying to figure out, okay, is this a product that people are going to like? I'd rather get the feedback directly from you guys. So click the link below to the right, wherever you're watching, wherever Dennis has put this, because he's been a master of the multicast since I taught him this. Right? He's got this broadcast all over the place. But wherever he's got the links, go ahead and click that link, and then let me know. You send me the receipt. Say, hey, here's the receipt. Hey, that's enough from the peanut gallery. Sorry.
I guess it's time to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have any problem getting to Zane, get to me. You've probably, since I sent you an email probably, or you saw on the Facebook group or on Earn 1K a Day. You know how to contact me. So if you have any trouble reaching Zane, just let me know, and I'll make sure we get you through.
Awesome, awesome. Then, with that said, Dennis, I mean, I really want to dig into making sure that everybody gets into the community, but I would like to give everybody the opportunity since they're still here. I mean, I don't know, unless you got time, or unless you have to go. I'm still happy to answer questions.
Well, there might be people logging in because they're expecting to see the replay now.
Probably.
Because I told them, if you come a couple hours late, you'll be able to watch from the beginning as a replay. So maybe that's what those people are.
All right. Okay. So then it's probably best.
Maybe we should let this go up to YouTube and.
That's a good idea. That's a very good idea. So, again, thank you. I just want to say, Dennis, thank you for having me here.
Oh, thanks for being here.
Give you a round of applause.
Thanks for being here.
All right, and of course, guys, even after this event ends, you can ask your questions and leave comments on the event page or the watch page. I will be interacting with you, but jump on over, because obviously the people in the community are who I'm going to be focusing on the very most, because they're the ones that actually paid for this class, the ones that have stepped up and said, yes, I am serious about this, I want to do this, especially for only $97. This is not going to be, it's never going to be this price again. I won't allow it. So jump in there, and again, thank you, Dennis. This was awesome.
Great. Yeah. Give yourself a round of applause now, Zane.
Oh.
Everybody's standing.
All right.
Okay.
So, thanks again. Bye, guys.
Bye.